Thank you for joining me. I am Christian Evans, and I want you to have a successful day. Today I will be showing you how I make beef bone broth. I'm going to take you into the store where I get my beef bones from. Usually when you make beef bone broth, you're going to need beef knuckles or the beef femur, which is the actual femur bone of the cow. So you can actually do both. At times I do both of them. It just really depends on what they have. So I'm going to show you guys how I pick one out. It's pretty simple. And then we're just going to go back home and we're going to actually prepare this. This is a 2 to 3 day process. So just be patient, and I guarantee the results that you will get from the beef bone broth, it will outweigh the time that you spent making it. So right now I'm actually walking into the deli, which is Pottstown's Meat and Deli here in Peoria. They have a pretty good selection of beef bones and exactly what I want. Okay, now we're in the store and we are looking for knuckles and femur bone. You want to look for the knuckles because they usually have more cartilage in them, in the fat, when it's cooked out, and that's very important when you are making this bone broth. So you know what? I found actual femur bone, and I also found knuckles. So here we go. We have some grass-fed beef knuckle bones. So I'm going to get one of those. And look at the price. It's not even that expensive. It's lobster bones. And we're going to get a femur bone, which is about $4 and some change. Now what I do with this, I ask them if they can cut this into thirds so it can make sure, so I can make sure it fits into my crock pot. Man, as you can see, it's raining and I just got drenched, but hey, you know, all in the love for some good healthy food. So I walked out of there spending a little under $6 for some beef knuckles and beef femur bone. And so here's the femur bone. I actually had the butcher cut it into quarters instead of thirds. It wasn't that big, but I want to make sure that it's able to fit into my crock pot the right way. And I also got some beef knuckles. And so again, just get one of each if you can. And you know, it doesn't cost that much, a little bit under $6. And that'll be the start and you'll be on your way. So we're going to go back home and then we are going to get the crock pot prepared with the ingredients. Okay, I'm back to go ahead and start this beef bone broth. As you see, I have my beef knuckle bones and I also have my beef femur bone. So now before I open these, I'm going to show you everything else that we will need. You want to get you a crock pot and turn it on high. Apple cider vinegar, fresh bay leaves, fresh thyme, fresh rosemary, kosher salt, ground black pepper, ground cayenne pepper. You're going to need about 3 bottles of water, obviously a cutting board and a knife, 3 celery ribs, 3 whole carrots, a fresh red onion, a beef steak tomato, fresh garlic, fresh ginger root, and I also have some fresh parsley. And I also have my measuring cups and measuring spoons. So now what you want to do, you want to come over to your crock pot and get your apple cider vinegar, and you want to pour a 1/4 of a cup of apple cider vinegar in here. So we got a 1/4 of a cup. And there we go. Then you want to take your cayenne pepper, and we're going to measure out 1/4 of a teaspoon. Set that in there. And now we get our ground black pepper, and we're going to measure out 1 teaspoon. There we go. I like putting my seasons at the bottom of it. That's just me. And we're going to take 1 teaspoon of kosher salt. Maybe a little extra got in there, but oh well. So we just stir it around a little bit. So now we just put the lid back on there and set to the side. I'm going to set my cutting board on the side because I don't want to, you know, cut my vegetables on the same mat that I cut my meat on. So we're just going to open up our beef knuckles, and they usually come in frozen, and it's okay if you want to throw them in to the crock pot, as so. And this is actually bigger than what I thought, but this is fine. This is what you want to look for in your beef knuckles. Usually there's a couple of them, but this one is a one big chunk, so it's my first time dealing with this one, but it's fine. So what you want to look for, this is like the bone marrow right in here, and this is very good for your soup. And I'll explain everything later in the blog post, but for right now what we're going to do is set this over to the side, and we're going to open up the beef femur bone. Like I said earlier, I had the butcher quarter it, and your butcher should, you know, do it without, you know, any problem or anything like that. So this is what we got right here, and you see all that bone marrow right there, and right in here we got 4 good pieces in here. So of course with everything we're going to go to our sink and rinse it off. So now what we're going to do is go ahead and drop the knuckle in here, and as well as the femur bones. And depending on the size of your crock pot, you know, you can have it cut smaller or bigger or whatever. I have a pretty small crock pot, so, you know, I got to make do. So set that top back on there. Okay, so now we have our cutting board back out. So now I'm just going to cut up some ginger root. Fairly big size of that. I really love ginger root and the benefits from that. And I'm just going to take the skin off of there. Set that over to the side, and now we have our fresh garlic. And you want to get about 3 bulbs of it if you take all the skin off. Okay, so now we have our fresh garlic. So I like adding a lot of garlic, so I'm just going to use just about half of this whole bulb, and just, you know, peel it and make sure you get all that skin off of there. Like I said, I like a lot of garlic, and to be honest, you know, you can, you know, take the bottom of your knife like so and, you know, smash it, you know, if you want, but this thing is going to cook down so much and you're going to strain it, so it really doesn't matter, you know, spending all this extra time trying to get that off and dicing it up and everything like that. So, you know, it'll be up to you. So we're going to take our garlic and our ginger root and just set it in there. So now we have our fresh parsley, and I'm going to use about half of this and set that to the side. And Just gonna cut it down small enough to fit into this crock pot. Alright, you want to get your fresh rosemary, and I like to de-stem it. I may have went too fast right there for those who aren't familiar with using fresh rosemary. What I do is I take the top side of it and I just get to the what I would call the stem of it, and then just pull it down, and then everything will, you know, come off of there. And do it one more time. Oops. Now I use about half of this insert of fresh rosemary. I mean, the more the merrier. You know, I really like the aroma that it gives my apartment while it's cooking. Set that over to the side, and we have some fresh thyme. You know what? I'm not too happy about this thyme, but I think I set it in the refrigerator, which I shouldn't have. But you know, if you get some fresh thyme, you want to use it the same way as you would do the rosemary. You know, you just want to try to de-stem it as much as possible, because if you leave the stems on, it will make the flavor bitter. So that's a tidbit number one. Tidbit number two, don't leave it in your refrigerator because it will turn on you. So I'm going to use the green parts of it, you know, as much as possible. Now we take our bay leaves, and I use about 4 of them, and I'm going to go ahead and put this in the crock pot as well. And now you want to take our celery, and we're just going to just chop it up. Alright, going to add this to the crock pot. As you can see, this thing is getting full, so we just press it down as much as possible. Now we get our carrots. And like I said before, this is going to be about a 2 to 3 day process. The longer you let it cook, the richer it will be. The flavor is tremendous, and you want to make sure you're cooking it long enough to make sure you get all the nutrients and vitamins out of that bone marrow of the beef bone. Okay, so now we got our tomato, and we're just going to quarter it. This one is pretty big, so I'm just probably going to cut it up into 8s just to make sure it'll fit into the crock pot. I wasn't expecting that knuckle to be that big. And don't be afraid to just, you know, press it down, because it's going to cook down as it is anyway. So now we got our red onion. So I'm going to cut that. Set that right there. Cut that part off. And just make sure you take that skin off. And just, you know, slice it. Try to get into small bits because of, you know, how this, at least my crock pot is. So if you got a crock pot this small, you understand. Okay, so now that we have all our ingredients in here, our last step now is to add the water. So get you some bottled water and just pour it over the top. And usually 3 will do for me. Sometimes, depending on the bones, I will add just 2 in the first one and then wait later on in the day and then watch everything cook down to see if I have room and add the 3rd one. And I don't see any water filling up just yet, which is a good sign. You don't want to overfill it because when it cooks, your top is going to kind of bubble over and you don't want everything seeping all over your counters. I'm talking from personal experience. So we're going to add this 3rd one and just watch the water rise on it a little bit as I can see it there. And that's it. So at least my first batch was about 2.5 bottles of water. And we're just going to put the top on here and we're going to set it aside and we're going to leave this on high, and I'm going to check on this later tonight. And like I said, this process is about 24 to 48 hours. The longer you let it cook, the richer that it'll taste. I'm going to list all the benefits of beef bone broth and as much information that I've gotten on it. I'm going to have that in the blog post associated with this video. So make sure you click on the link in the description box below in this video. That way you can get all the information that I found out on the health benefits of beef bone broth. I will check on this again in a few hours, and then from there I will check on it again first thing in the morning and just watch it for the next 24 hours. And I'm going to make sure I document everything for you guys so you guys can see the process, and we're going to go from there. Okay, it's been about 4 hours since we started the beef bone broth, and we're going to take the top off and check how everything is looking. The smell is amazing. Now it's on high right now, so what we'll do is put the lid back on and turn it down low, and we'll check it first thing in the morning. Alright, it's first thing in the morning and we're going to check our beef bone broth, and I'm going to take that top off, and you see how everything is cooked down so far, and once again it smells delicious. So now we're going to give it a stir, and remember it's been on low all night. Thought about adding some more water to it, but I think we'll be fine. I may add more water later. And you can see some of the bones and everything still in there. And yeah, it still has a while to cook because you can look at that. You see the marrow right there. It's still there, still kind of hard. And there's that knuckle right there, and you see the marrow start to cook in there. You see that right there? So we're just going to stir it up a little bit, not too much. We may add some more water later. If I had any more water, it'd probably spill over. I had a little spillage last night, and I had to take the top off and cook it for a while with the top off, just to let some of the evaporation escape. That way I wouldn't have my counter filled with broth grease. And you don't want to lose any of that fat, because that stuff is very good and for the purpose of the whole beef bone broth. The fat in it that comes from the actual cartilage of the beef bones helps replace your cartilage in your body. So I'm going to let this cook some more, and we're going to check it in a few hours. Okay, it's been a little bit over 24 hours, and now we're going to check on it. Oh, and look at that. See, it's still bubbling. And you know what? It's done. Like I said, sometimes you can let it go for 24 hours or 48 hours. It just all depends. I'm just letting this one go for 24. So you can see that beef knuckle that we had before. Look how it split up. And this is hot. So what I'm going to do now is just turn this off and unplug it and just stir it from the bottom and just get everything nice and stirred up. And what we're going to do now is drain it, and we are going to bottle it and refrigerate it. Okay, so I have a pot and I have a strainer, and I'm just going to strain this bone broth into the pot with the strainer. That way we can strain off all the vegetables and bones and stuff, and we're going to be left with the bone broth. So make sure you get a oven mitt or a towel like I'm using, and just take it out your crock pot, and boy oh boy is this hot. It still smells amazing. And you get all these nutrients and vitamins and minerals that we pretty much cooked into this broth. You guys may ask, okay, what am I going to do with the remainder of the bones and the vegetables? What I normally do is that I pick out the bones and I start a new batch of bone broth. You can pretty much keep using these bones for at least 2 to 3 batches of bone broth. And then, I still have my vegetables and my herbs in my refrigerator, and I can just, do the same thing over again. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the bones out, put them back into the crock pot, along with some more fresh vegetables and herbs and seasonings, and, make another batch that'll take me another 24 hours. As far as the vegetables, what I'm going to do with those is that I'm going to set those aside, and I'm actually going to make a vegetable puree soup. So you can do a lot of things with this. So we're going to set this aside right now, and this is predominantly all the bone broth that's in here. So I have some mason jars that I bought from Walmart for about $8 that we're going to store this bone broth in. So now what I do is just strain this or pour this into a bowl, and like so. You can use a measuring cup or whatever, but this works for me. And just going to pour all that goodness into there. There we go. And there you have it, beef bone broth. As you can see, it did about 2 3/4 of mason jars. These are 12-ounce mason jars. And this looks really good once it cools down. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to store this in my refrigerator. I'm not going to put any glass in the freezer, but I am going to drink this throughout the week. And it's just going to help me out a lot more with my diet and my overall health. And again, I'm still learning about all the nutritional benefits of beef bone broth. You can also make it with chicken bones, but I like using beef bones. Again, the full recipe will be in the blog post, how to make beef bone broth. I have also provided articles that can further explain the benefits of beef bone broth. I've also provided YouTube videos that can assist in that information also. So I'm still learning, and I'm not afraid to show you guys what I've learned and who I learned from, because it's each one teach one. So with that being said, I hope you like this video. Let me know if you have any questions. Leave comments below. Remember, it's each one teach one. Spread love, not war. Speak positivity into your life every day, and speak positivity into someone else's life every day. And if you haven't done it already, please subscribe to CHRISTIANJEVANS.net. Thank you, and have a successful day. Hello, I'm Christian Evans. I lost nearly 200 pounds without any diet pills or surgery. I feel way better than I did when I was this guy right here. Believe it or not, I'm the same person, but a different mindset. I'm more energetic, I'm more healthier, and I have the best outlook on life than I've ever had in my entire life. I want you to have this same good feeling like I have. I have a program for you, and it's called the Christian's Weight Success Starter Program. Direct message me to learn more.